Well, shalom, y'all. This video is not exactly the one that I wanted to have to make, but I first of all want to thank those of you who were praying so hard for Chelsea, who watched our previous video, Deadly Duels, and you saw, I guess, behind the screen of what's kind of going on in our life. And I realized we had a lot of phone calls with folks yesterday, and so many people that have been through this situation before. And for those of you that don't know, our home, our RV has become really badly infested with mold, and it's gotten to an extent now where we can't stay here anymore. Chelsea, this pregnancy, we thought so much of the challenges that she was facing, the physical complications that she was experiencing were just mostly related to her pregnancy. And then I was having these little random bouts of extreme joint pain and just horrible fatigue and like brain fog. And I just couldn't focus and pay attention super well. And now it was just like, it would come and go in really hard waves. And I thought it was because I was doing a lot of the audio recording of the Bible and I was sitting a lot. And so I was doing all these walks and trying to do exercises and taking all these supplements and diatomaceous earth. But I could not get this joint pain to go away in my knees specifically, which I've never had in my life. And then she's just been horribly fatigued and nauseous, and that's stuff that's normal in the beginning of the thing, but then it would like cycle around to where she like can't eat and she's like not able to gain any weight and losing weight, in fact. And then back in December, another buddy of mine came over and we tried to strip out where the majority of the mold was that we thought we knew where it was at, and we did our best to get it out, but in the last couple months, it's just taken over different spots in the RV. And on Sunday of last week, I found a whole section of the front of my RV up by my dash that was just like fuzz, white and yellow and green mold that had just gone in through the carpet. And I've battled leaks in this RV back since for a while now. And we had a big flood here in July that ran through for a few hours. And we've just got damage, a really bad damage in the RV. And I have to fix it to the best of my ability. And to be real transparent with you guys, I'm not a fix-it kind of guy. And these kinds of home improvement projects scare the heck out of me. They make me a weepy mess as it is. And I've had to take over so many of the responsibilities for Chelsea since she's been down. She's incapacitated at the point where it's like she's just bed rest is like really what she has to do right now. And I have to get her out of this environment. And so we're just going to go stay in like an Airbnb for a while and then try to get some guys here who do know how to remove carpet and remove flooring and clean all this stuff out. We've done some ozone treatments where you turn on this little ozone generator that helps to create O3, a different form of oxygen that neutralizes and kills everything. And so you have to leave for a while and come back. The problem is I can't be gone for very long without her. She's so fatigued and unwell. I can't just go drive around and sit places and park or whatever. And so we have to leave our home. And I feel like a failure in so many ways because I haven't been able to address this, or like this mold has poisoned my wife. Like I started finding it all behind her chair where she sits and along the windowsill. Some of it was mildew, and then there was just walls of it, mold behind her where she was sitting. And then we were moving stuff out to try to get this ozone treatment in, and it was all along the carpet edges at different places all over our RV. And I realized this place is like a toxic cesspool. Miraculously, my girls for now are healthy, but it's just too much. We've spent too long inside this space, and I don't know what else to do. Like our family is like, as you guys know, we have been committed to this kind of mobile lifestyle for a long time. And this was our first winter where we stayed somewhere that was colder, and it's not been unpleasant in our RV, but because we've kept it a little bit warmer inside, anytime it's warmer inside, it creates this condensation. Where there's that condensation and dust, this mold just propagates like crazy. And I'm parked in southern Missouri right now, which was almost turning towards spring, and now it's just turning back into winter again. And so it's just kind of rebounding again and again. And my wife is like weeks away from giving birth. And I have to relocate my family. And we have to do our best to try to save this home. And Chelsea and I just can't stop crying about it because we've loved this RV in so many ways. We love it, and we don't want to have to like get out of this RV. It works for us. It's small and it's functional, and it's given us so much freedom, and it's given us the opportunity to connect with so many different people across this country in ways that we never could have before this, But at the same time, I have to keep them safe, and if I'm real transparent, I think I just feel like terrible as a father for having my wife and my girls in such an unclean place and not knowing how to handle this appropriately, like for so long. Like I just thought she had this thing called cholestasis, where her liver was like basically not functioning super well, and it just causing her body to break out with this bile salts build up and are not able to get excreted out of the body the natural way, like your gallbladder and your liver starts shutting down, and these bile salts just build up because you're not able to digest your food properly, and so it's in your bloodstream, and it makes you itch like uncontrollably, and this itching has just gone from her, inside her nose to her eyelids to like down to her toes, everywhere, just like uncontrollable need to itch. And so she has like scratching sores and like bloody sores that have opened up on her skin from trying to itch this stuff. Even at night, she'll wake up and she's got claw marks of like scabs on her from where she was scratching so hard and she couldn't stop it in the middle of the night. And she's just like, she's just in suffering agony. And we thought it was this thing called cholestasis. And they're like, yeah, it happens in 1% of women. And she was just spending all this time researching it. And so we've been going down this supplementation road of trying all these different liver detox support stuff that's safe during pregnancy, because it's generally not an ideal time to be detoxing, and using activated charcoal. And just all the supplements we could possibly get our hands on to try to help her, because I can't sit here. I just felt powerless. You're staring at your wife and she's like so unwell, and so I've started trying to take over more and more of her responsibilities. And I'm not a good Mennonite, y'all. Like I'm not like a good bread baker and housewife. Really not so good at it. But at the same time, like I love my wife, and I love my family, and I want to see them thrive again. Like I want to see them well again, and she's not, and she's been so unwell for so long, and it's been like a chronic illness, and we're like, what the heck is going on? Like we just got to get to the birth. And we're set up on a property right now that somebody gave us, and we have like a tent here, and we're like preparing for the birth of the baby, and we have this like outdoor hot water heater and like a big animal water trough that we are gonna like try to do an underwater birth, because that's been really helpful for Naomi when she gave birth to Naomi. That was really good. And we've been going about this in like what they call an unassisted birth plan, because we've not gone down the midwife road. We've had midwives before, and y'all, they're very complicated because they're licensed still, and they have still these proclivities for a business model. And the way that they practice, not all of them, but I'm just going to tell you our experiences. Chelsea will do a whole long video about her experiences, but they've actually complicated her births multiple times with rupturing her water way too early and causing the labor to get way more painful on her, and then just kind of abandoning her during the course of it. And they're like $3,000 or $4,000, and like we don't have financial means to do any of this stuff. And what little finances we did have, we were starting to really try to save up for a minivan because we can't fit a third child into the car that we have. And so we're really trying to save up for a van. And all of this is just like put us in a position where we're like, the LinenRailroad has been growing like crazy. And we have people that are shipping us garments from all over the country. And we have just boxes and boxes and boxes of garments building up. And so we were like, okay, we need just a storage space where we can store this, and we can organize it so we can send out these garments and send out the treasure bags, and we're doing seeds in them. And like that side of the ministry has been growing. And so we've just been kind of trying to build a inventory system. Well, then the tent that we have everything stored in just leaks like crazy when it rains. And I'm like, it's okay as long as I'm here because I can dry everything out. And we figured that's kind of a good space that she can labor in and give birth in. And our friends brought over this Amish hot water heater, which is like a wood stove and then like a 30-gallon water tank on top of it. And we're like, well, maybe this is how we're going to do it, you know? And I knew this mold was getting more and more problematic. And so I've been trying to just go after it. But I get to an area where it's like in the wood. And the way these RVs are designed, there's areas like right behind where I'm sitting here. This is a slide I'm sitting in. And it's got like an access panel kind of underneath from here to the bedroom. And that's where we would get this chronic mold outburst just going. And it's because there's condensation would get in there. And then I started having leaks when it would rain like crazy. And this has been one of the wettest winters ever that they've had here. And so it's just magnified all the issues that we've had. And she suggested like a couple days ago that we should maybe go get a hotel or maybe get an Airbnb, and I just like shut down. And I'll be real honest, it's like a fear of money in my head that gets me from making decisions sometimes, that like we can't afford to move out of our RV. Like we can't afford it. We've owned this RV since we got it. Like we bought it cash, 4.5 years ago, and that was the last time we had like a savings in our life. And we've just had this model in our life where we go to the Father in private and make our needs known to Him. And we don't want to make our life this, or our ministry, an approach where we're always coming out and telling everybody what our needs are. And, He has taken care of us and sustained us in that, even though it's been really tight at times. But then I can't go back down that road of being fearful that He's not going to provide our needs through this situation. And for us to leave our home is not some massive act of failure on our part, but it's the wisest thing for us to do, is to get my wife healthy again and to stay somewhere that's clean, and that's okay. And if she ends up giving birth in some Airbnb, and so be it. Like we have to lay all our expectations down, because we've seen how Yahuwah changes people's lives immediately, and we got to be flexible and go with that. And it's going to be for our good. It's always for our good, if we're willing to move when He tells us to move, and get uncomfortable if that's what we need to do. So I just wanted to update some of you guys. I know a lot of you have been praying really hard for us, and I just thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement and your support. You guys are so much the reason my family has been able to carry out this life for so long. But truly, it's the intercession of you guys' prayers that has sustained my family more than anything else that there is, because He's rescued us from certainty of death. And I ask you guys to continue to intercede for my family in that regard, and that my wife and my baby would just be completely protected and healed, and there would not be like long-term damage to her and or to me or my girls, and that we would just be fully restored, through this trial. I know that there's trials for every one of you guys. I read some of the most unbelievable emails and letters for what you guys are going through, and it's like we're not sharing in suffering alone. And it's a brutal time to be alive for some of us. For some of you guys are battling horrible things, or very oppressive situations with people that you're living with or living around, or situations of horrible pain and suffering that have taken place because of things that you couldn't control that took place in your life. But we just want to pray that Yahuwah would fill you with strength today, and that He would make you to abound in every good work. Like I was reading 2 Peter yesterday, y'all. We just need some water of the Word, I just get to the end of the night, man, and I just don't know how to keep going with her. I'm so fried at the end of the night. And my daughters, Naomi and Jubilee, are so sweet, but we've been cooped up in this RV for so long. And you're just wrecked, man. Any of you who are parents, it sucks sometimes. When one of the spouses is down, it's brutal. It's brutal. And I've realized how much work my wife has done over these years to support this family. It's a monumental effort to make living bread. It's not just a big deal. I used to be like, honey, why don't you make a quadruple recipe of everything? I love the muffins. Just make 4 times as much. So I started doing that. I made quadruple batches of tortillas the other day. And I'm like, I got to freeze some food. I got to try to store up some food so that after the baby's born, we have some food. And oh my gosh, it wrecked me. I was like, this is crazy. And she's like, that's how I feel and why I don't make quadruple batches of tortillas all the time. And I'm like, wow. Just taking over, trying to do the laundry. Right now we have 3 washing machines and not one of them work. We've tried we're trying to just be able to do laundry on the property, and you're like, gosh dang it, can't even get a washer that works. And it's just like, the struggle is real, man. Reynolds are on the struggle bus, y'all. But I don't need to get on here. I try not to ever have these like messages, y'all, or videos where it's like, sucks. We try to be encouragement to others. We feel like that's our function in the body, is to be exhorters to the body and encouragers to the body, and just try to water them with the word, man, and pump them up. But like, life is also freaking brutal, you know? It's brutal. I can't stop crying, you know, because you're like, I'm looking at my wife and she's so thin, and I'm like, what the heck is happening to her? And I don't know how to fix it, you know? You just want to trade your health for theirs, you know? You're like, pregnancy is such a strange thing, because you're like, I'm watching my wife give her life away for this baby. It's like the baby, I think, is protected in so many ways because it takes from the mom what it needs to live, and they just wither. Somebody wrote on one of my comments that they were throwing up like 20 times a day and like bedridden. And I see that. I used to be so frustrated when Chelsea was down, and now I'm like, I just want her to rest so she can be restored, you know? But yesterday a brother called me who had his wife back in a year ago. They moved into a camper in West Virginia, and they weathered the winter there, and they were like, oh, it wasn't so bad. We were able to actually stay in the RV, and they kept it like 60, 70 degrees, and his wife's health started going downhill, and he didn't know why. And so they took her to the doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, her gallbladder's basically shutting down, her liver's kind of shutting down, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And finally he ended up mentioning that he thinks they have some mold in the RV, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is mold toxicity. And they were like, you have to get her out of there right now. And Yahuwah just started opening doors for them in crazy, miraculous ways. But his wife's health still is on recovery. And I'm like, gosh. I had another guy call me the same thing. And I've heard it about wives. What's really strange is multiple men have talked to me about it. And it's been their wives who were way more affected by the mold and the toxicity and the complications from the mold. And I'm like, I don't know why this is, and I'm sure this is a start for me to study and try to examine what it is about this, like why this mold takes place and how it affects the women the way it does. But it seems to be sincerely pointed that way. And I've shared with y'all back in I did a video called The War for the Mind when I first was really trying to address this stuff back after Sukkot, but I was mentally so unwell after Sukkot that some folks were offering to try to have us come and stay with them and clean all this out, but I was not well in a place to be able to do that. Like, it's a big vulnerability to completely remove your family from the home that they lived in for a long time, and especially for us, like, to totally leave everything we have and just go is a tough thing to do, and it's tough for anyone, I'm sure, but yeah, it just feels different. We've done it one time. We moved out of the RV one time, and then it was really tough getting back into this, and we'd never been so happy to do that. That was like a year ago, and we'd never been more content to be in this RV. And we literally got to a place where we're like, you know what? If you don't want us to have a house, if you don't want us to have land or any of that, like, we don't need it. Like, if you want us to live in this RV as long as we're on this earth and continue to be sojourners like this, we're content to do that. Like, we're just thankful we have a home. We're thankful you've given us this RV, and we want to be content in that. And if we got to stay in this thing, so be it. Well, shalom. We're on the road again. The Reynolds are rolling again. We really are. Reynolds don't roll that often, but when we do, we roll with linen. Lots of it. I've got 7 heaping trash bags full of linen, silk, and wool. If you don't know about silk, you need to take a minute and really reevaluate your life, because silk is tremendous. These bugs are vomiting up everything they got to give you something splendid, and it would transform you immediately. If you've been wanting something right in between wool and linen, it's called silk. And you know what? Yahuwah says in the scriptures he clothes his bride with silk. You betcha. Biblical garments. I layer up the linen. Right now I'm representing linen, wool, silk,
hem,
and hem. All in the same time.
All in the same body.
All on the same flesh. It's wonderful. And it will totally
give you great comfort and ease your ailments. Right now, we're on the road. And you know what? I know not how long until we're on the road again. But it's great. We are so appreciative of this home that has been a true blessing to us so many times. There's been times where I've been driving this thing not feeling very blessed, not appreciative, very disgruntled, very grumbly. And you know what? This morning I loaded my car on this little dolly. You can see it back down there. She's chugging along. And I was just so thankful. There's a dead hawk. Never in my life had deeper desires to go pick that feathers. It's a great blessing. My dolly works, my tires work, my home is moving, and Yahweh is with us. Whenever He leads you, calls you, whether it's to the road or to the neighborhoods, the apartments, wherever it may be, surely His favor go before you, and may He give you peace in all that you do. Yahweh bless you.
And we got to find contentment. If we have food and clothing, let us be content. And my prayers finally stopped turning, like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I stopped praying like, please help this stop. Like, please heal her. Please deliver her from this. Like, I stopped praying and I started praying like, please just teach us the lessons we need to learn here. Like, help us learn the lessons we need to learn here to pass this test, to pass this trial, and so that it could be ended as quickly as possible. But we want to pass the test, Yahuwah. Give us the strength to pass this test, because this whole life is a test, and it's about consistency, constancy, like bearing up and enduring all the way to the end. Perseverance is the name of the game here, y'all. Like, it's for this light and momentary afflictions that we endure these things, because we're looking towards a greater good, a greater glory that's indescribably better than anything we could possibly hope or imagine. Like, there is no cure in a house. There's no cure in a land. There's no cure in a relationship. There's a cure in a covenant that was given to us to seal us and set us apart to be sons and daughters to Yah. That's the cure. That's the cure ultimately that we need. That's the cure that I need to overcome this angst that I have about what my family's going to do. This is the cure that you need to overcome the battles that you may be having. And we just want you guys to turn back to His water of the Word. And yesterday I was pressed to read 2 Peter 2, and this is verse 9. Then Yahweh knows how to rescue the reverent ones from trial, and to keep the unrighteous unto the day of judgment. Like, He knows how to rescue us out of this trial. He knows how to rescue us from this. And He is more than capable of doing that. Like, He rescued Lot when Lot was in Sodom during the time of its judgment. During the day and the hours of its judgment, He snatched him out of there. Like, He rescued Noah with just 8 people and rescued the whole earth and delivered them out of there. Like, this is chapter 3. This now, beloved ones, the second letter I write to you, in which I stir up your sincere mind to remember the words previously spoken by the set-apart prophets, and of the command of the Master and Savior spoken by your emissaries. Knowing this first, that mockers shall come in the last days, with mocking, walking according to their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of His coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all continues as from the beginning of creation. For they choose to have this hidden from them, that the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of water and in water by the word of Elohim, through which the world at that time was destroyed, being flooded with water. And the present heavens and the earth are treasured up by the same word, being kept for fire to a day of judgment and destruction of wicked men. But, beloved ones, let not this matter be hidden from you, that with Yahuwah 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day. Yahuwah is not slow in regard to the promise, as some count slowness, but is patient towards us, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of Yahuwah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burned up. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be in set-apart behavior and reverence, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of Elohim, through which the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. But according to His promise, we wait for a renewed heavens and a renewed earth, in which righteousness dwells. So then, beloved ones, looking forward to this, do your utmost to be found by him in peace, spotless and blameless, and reckon the patience of our Master as deliverance, as also our beloved brother Shaul wrote to you according to the wisdom given to him, as also in all his letters, speaking in them concerning these matters, in which some are hard to understand, which those who are untaught and unstable twist to their own destructions, as they do also the other scriptures. You then, beloved ones, being forewarned, watch lest you fall from your own steadfastness, being led away with a delusion of lawlessness, but grow in the favor and knowledge of our Master and Savior, Yeshua Messiah. To him be the esteem, both now and to a day that abides. Amen. That's the day we're waiting for. At the end of all of this, this is a light and momentary affliction that we're experiencing. And this child is 9 months brewing, but my wife is groaning and crying in pains for this child to be born, as am I with her. And this earth, it says, this very earth is groaning and moaning in pains, longing for the day of its deliverance. And near is that day, y'all, and we long for it, because the truth is that's the day of our deliverance. That's the day of our deliverance. And he who endures till the end will not lose his reward, will receive a crown of life. That's what we need to faithfully endure. Stand up. Stand up. Keep going. That's what this life is about. We got to persevere in these circumstances. And I pray Yahuwah would give you the perseverance that you need to overcome whatever situation that's facing you today. And that he would strengthen you in the innermost portion of your being with his word. And that you would abide faithfully to do his will always. And that you would turn to this blessed treasure that we do have, that we are so blessed to be able to hold and guard this word. May Yahuwah fulfill you guys and satisfy you with the bread of life today. I love you. We'll talk to you soon.